It was a quiet evening in New York City when Rita Hayworth wandered into a hotel lobby, looking lost and confused. The crowd that once erupted in applause at her every entrance now barely recognized her. The once luminous star, who had set Hollywood ablaze with her beauty and magnetism, stood there, fragile, disoriented, and fading from memory. Those who had adored her on the silver screen could never have imagined that the woman who defined glamour itself would one day forget her own name. Behind the allure and the shimmering red hair lay a heartbreaking truth. Rita Hayworth was slowly losing herself to a cruel disease long before anyone understood what it was. Her story is one of dazzling fame and quiet tragedy. Of a woman adored by millions but left utterly alone when the lights went out. Her story began as Margarita Carmen Cancino on October 17, 1918, in Brooklyn, New York. Born to a Spanish dancer father and an Irish-American mother, she was destined for the stage. Dance was in her blood. Her father trained her from a young age, pushing her beyond exhaustion. The rhythm that ran through her veins became both a blessing and a curse. As a child, Rita longed for freedom, but her father's ambition overshadowed her innocence. The stage was her playground and her prison. By her teenage years, she was performing alongside him in nightclubs, mesmerizing audiences with her graceful movements but living under strict control. It was a childhood that shaped her, elegant on the outside, wounded within. Hollywood first noticed her when she was barely out of her teens. But back then, Margarita Cancino didn't look American enough for stardom. Studio executives ordered her to change her name, dye her black hair a fiery red, and even undergo painful procedures to alter her hairline and make her appear more glamorous. And just like that, the girl from Brooklyn was reborn as Rita Hayworth. The transformation was complete, and the world was about to meet a new kind of star, one who radiated both innocence and sensuality, a woman men dreamed of and women envied. Yet, behind that perfect facade, Rita felt increasingly detached from the identity she had been forced to abandon. Her breakthrough came with Only Angels Have Wings in 1939, but it was her performance in Gilda that made her immortal. When she tossed her hair back and sang, "Put the Blame on Mame," she didn't just act, she ignited the screen. The scene became one of the most iconic in film history. Overnight, she became the fantasy of an entire generation, the ultimate femme fatale. Soldiers carried her photos during World War II, calling her the love goddess. But Rita herself hated the title. She once said, "Men go to bed with Gilda, but they wake up with me." It was a haunting confession. The world loved the illusion, but few cared for the woman behind it. Her love life mirrored the turbulence of her fame. Rita's marriages were as famous as her movies, and each one left her a little more broken. Her first husband, Edward Judson, controlled and exploited her. He saw her not as a partner but as a product to sell. Her second marriage to director Orson Welles brought passion but also chaos. Welles was a genius, but his unpredictable nature clashed with Rita's longing for stability. Though they had a daughter together, their love couldn't withstand the storm of Hollywood's pressures. When she married Prince Ali Khan, it seemed like a fairy tale, a Hollywood goddess becoming real-life royalty. But even that dream turned into disillusionment. The prince's infidelities and her isolation in a foreign world left her lonelier than ever. She returned to America, her crown tarnished but her beauty undimmed. As the years passed, the glamour began to fade. The roles became fewer, the spotlight dimmer. Hollywood, once enchanted by her every move, had moved on to younger faces. Rita struggled with alcoholism, a desperate attempt to silence the pain and confusion that were slowly taking over her mind. Directors who once adored her began to avoid her, calling her unreliable and distant. No one understood that the forgetfulness, the confusion, and the erratic behavior were not signs of arrogance or addiction alone, they were the first signs of Alzheimer's disease. A condition still largely unknown at the time. The 1970s and 1980s marked her quiet disappearance from public life. Her once sparkling eyes became vacant. Her radiant smile turned into a faint memory. Friends and family watched helplessly as the woman who had enchanted millions slipped away into darkness. Her daughter, Princess Yasmin Aga Khan, devoted her life to caring for her mother and raising awareness about the disease that had stolen her. It was through Yasmin's love that Rita's legacy found a new, deeper meaning, not just as a Hollywood icon but as a symbol of resilience and vulnerability. Rita Hayworth passed away on May 14, 1987, in her New York apartment. She was 68 years old. The world mourned her as the goddess of the silver screen, but those who truly knew her grieved for the gentle, wounded soul who had lived behind the glitter. Her final years were a tragic mirror of her career, a gradual fading from brilliance to obscurity, from applause to silence. Yet, even in her illness, there was a strange grace. She had spent her entire life performing for others, and in the end, she performed the hardest role of all, that of a woman slowly losing everything she had ever known. Today, as we look back at her most private photos, the ones where she's laughing between takes, dancing barefoot, or simply staring into the distance, we see not just a screen siren but a human being who carried both light and sorrow. Her beauty was undeniable, but her pain was just as real. She gave the world her youth, her love, her art, and in return, she received adoration tinged with loneliness. Yet, through it all, Rita Hayworth remains one of Hollywood's most enduring symbols of elegance and tragedy, and perhaps that's the greatest irony, that a woman who spent her life pretending to be someone else ended up revealing, through her suffering, her truest self. Her story reminds us that behind every glamorous smile, there is a story untold, a secret pain, a heart that beats just like ours. Rita Hayworth's star may have dimmed long ago, but her legacy, her grace, her courage, her haunting allure, continues to shine in the memories of all who still whisper her name. If her journey touched you, if her beauty and tragedy still move you, don't forget to like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more untold Hollywood stories. Because some legends may fade, but their light never truly dies.